What's up, everybody? What's happening? What's going on? Thank you for coming and stopping by, man. Really appreciate it. Really do appreciate it. Let's go ahead and talk about this, man. As you know, K Mega 405 coming for you live from the 405. If talking to the intelligent gamers, talking to the intelligent gamers, because this is right here. I'm gonna have people that's going to definitely not like what I gotta say, but I mean, I just got to be real. I just got to be real about this. And again, I already know there's going to be the certain group of people that's going to say, "Oh, well, it's just kind of the circle jerk thing." K Mega, he can't stand PlayStation, so he wants to dog them out. He wants to do this. He wants to do that. That's not the case whatsoever. Uh, what up? What up, Shogun? It's just that we just got to be real about this. You know, there's so many people out here. Listen, I get it. As a person that is a primary Xbox fan, for somebody to talk about PlayStation, it might rub people the wrong way, especially if if it's not all bubblegum and candy treats and rainbows. Listen, I've owned, I've owned. Let's put it in this perspective. I have owned. Uh, the only two things that I have not owned from PlayStation is a Vita and the PlayStation VR. Pretty much everything else that PlayStation has provided is I've owned when it comes to peripherals, for the handhelds. The Vita is the only thing, and the PlayStation VR is the only two things that I haven't bought. I've bought those toys. I bought like two or three of them because the kids wanted their own, so I bought that. I've gotten. You go back to the days with the memory cards, when you had those that old school uh, where you played like up to 8 players. You hook that thing up. The extender that you put on the back of the PlayStation 2 so you could hook up the internet. I bought that. Tons of memory cards. I mean, there were so many things that I bought from the PlayStation. Like, I don't even want to hear the garbage from some of these stands out here that says, "Oh, you just want to talk because you just want to talk about." No, I just want to bring up facts because there are so many pro PlayStation channels that just don't want to talk about the facts. It's funny because they want to make it pro PlayStation, but it's Xbox eccentric. It's really weird. So again, I game on pretty much everything. I don't have a Switch yet. I know that's bad, but other than that, I still support all of this stuff. So let's just get into it, right? Let's just talk about it. All right. Thank you guys. Like I said, thank you guys for coming and checking it out. This was kind of a random thing. I just was, just going back and forth on Twitter and just talking. And I was, of course, me and Porter Rock going back and forth. Of course, respectfully, but it's just still this thing to me. It's just like, why is it that these guys can't get it? Why is it that they always have to resort to say, well, look at the sales. Look at this. The PlayStation 2 is the best. Listen, the PlayStation 2 had games running. The last PlayStation 2 game made was a soccer game in 2014. Of course, it's going to be successful because the games are going to be cheaper. I mean, I mean, let's just be real. There's no console that had a lifespan like the PlayStation 2. It just gobbled up a lot of the PlayStation 3 gamers because there was so many people that was playing on the PlayStation 2, and there's nothing to take away from it. I'm just saying it's like when people try to make this concept about the PlayStation 5 and how it's going to surpass the PlayStation 4 and it's going to do just about the same numbers okay, that's cool. But in the real world, is that going to equate to where PlayStation is going to dominate the gaming market like they did this generation? That's yet to be seen because Sony is definitely trying to make this point of saying that they're going to be traditional while slowly moving into that uncharted area that so many of these stands say and claim that they don't want to do, right? So, all right, that they don't want. But let's get to it, right? All right, so if you've lived under a rock, especially in the gaming space, then if you didn't know that Sony stock dropped like a rock yesterday, And Bloomberg made a report talking about it was because of the chipsets. It was called yields or something like that or whatever. I never really heard of that before until I just started listening, just reading and listening to what other people were saying. But it's basically the chipsets, they were going bad from they were manufacturing these chips. The chips was going bad. There was a big number of them that were going bad. Some are saying that it was anywhere from 50%. Some saying it was 25%, 30%. I don't know. That's that's here or there, right? But whatever happened is that it made Sony to make a decision of where they had to cut back on their um, on their launch on the PS5 launches. So basically, that they were cutting back about 4 million. So it's supposed to be, I guess, they were going to be bringing in about 15 million, but then they said they was going to do about 11 or so. So Sony comes back and they say, no, that's not true. That's not true. Now, let's be real here. Come on, guys. Let's just be real. Let's be real. Let's be real. They talk, yeah, to cut back on the production. Let's be real here. Have Sony lied to us before? Uh huh. Just what I thought. Sony has lied to us. Matter of fact, they lied to us earlier this year, and they still would have got away with the lie if it wasn't for a disgruntled employee or whatever the leaker that did the stuff to the for the Last of Us 2 uh, that said, look, oh, this game is not done, it's not finished. And I've had videos talking about that. Is where, look, the dev said that the game was finished. It said it just needed a little polish and we're ready to go. But we have to listen to what our boss say. So, it's disappointing, but we'll hold it off. Sony was trying to hold that game off until probably the beginning of the year, which would have been really crazy if you come to think about it, if they brought that game, if they brought The Last of Us 2 as a launch title, and then they got Spider-Man, and then now you see Halo. That would be a killer launch for PlayStation 5. It might would have been probably the best launch that they've ever had in their history. But regardless, didn't happen, didn't pan out. They Sony lied about it and they got caught. But of course, as the stands do, they don't want to talk about it. They just want to talk about, well, it's outsold, it's this and that, blah 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 blah. That's fine. You can love your sales numbers, but your company lies to you, but yet y'all always want to sit here and talk about Phil Spencer and say he's selling snake oil and all this stuff. So going back to this, Sony just coming out and they're saying, look, this is what happens when stocks go down like that. The company starts denying quickly. I mean, I think we've seen this with GameStop, right? Where GameStop stocks have just plummeted, and you don't see. Did you see GameStop's? Well, yeah, man. I mean, a lot of people just don't like us. I mean, things are just bad. No, they deny it. And then behind closed doors, they close 700 stores. So it's just Sony trying to stop the bleeding. This is listen. I understand that people, you might not believe, good old K Mega. You don't have to. All you got to do is just look at the stock market. Those people don't play. They don't play no games. They're about money. Those insiders don't. They know way more than what any pro PlayStation insider will ever know. They know they can't. Sony cannot lie to their investors. They cannot lie to the people that they can't lie to them. They can lie to the public, but they cannot lie to them. That's not only that gets them in big trouble. You cannot lie about that. So obviously something is wrong. Something's amiss. And those investors, they looked at it, they said, whoa, no. And the stocks drop. And if you go back to something that I posted this back in late January, early February, about those rumors about the heating issues that was going on with Sony and with the PlayStation 5. Now, of course, it was a rumor. Nobody didn't know if it was true or not. But the more time kept passing, the more quiet that they were, and the only hype that the PlayStation fan only got in March was the logo get just here present PlayStation 5. Y'all remember that? What up with you, Rico? What's up with you? This is that's what it is. That's just the facts. I mean, it, Never, never, and all the time, Sony has always had the better swag. They've always had the better just coming out and just making Microsoft look like they're a step behind when it comes to their presentation. Always wasn't like that this year. It hasn't been. It hasn't been. If it wasn't for Microsoft having that issue with Halo Infinite, Microsoft would be in a clean slate. Nobody, listen, I understand that the PlayStation stand is the ultimate hype man. They're like the Flavor Flav of the gaming of the hardcore gamers. They will talk the biggest and baddest game ever. They are the biggest hype man ever. And half of these suckers don't even play those games or beat them, but they'll talk about them. And then when those numbers come up, they'll show them. They'll be quick to tell you what's an exclusive and what's not. They are the Flavor Flav of the hardcore gaming community. That's just a fact. But the point of the matter, they can't get out of this one. They can't. You can try to set sugarcoat. Listen, Ratchet and Clank looks fantastic. Looks great. I love the game on the PlayStation 4. It looked unbelievable. This one looks 10 times better. Well, it don't look 10 times better, but it looks a lot better. It looks fantastic. But I ain't never seen no Ratchet and Clank game just go out and crush a Halo or what. And that's what I'm saying. Like, these guys really actually try to make people believe that like Ratchet and Clank is that savior for that quote unquote Spider-Man. If this was a full-fledged Spider-Man's going to sell. That's no doubt about that. There's going to be units that's going to be moved. That's a given. That is a given. But it's not a full-fledged. Yeah, it will. When people see the Spider-Man game and it's available right then and there, yes, it will move unit. It will move consoles. That is no doubt about it. But is that going to be the saving grace? I don't know. See, this is why I say, are they stumbling into this gen? Because everything that they've been doing, they've been too quiet. And to see now, in the show, I'm going to be looking with anticipation, not because I'm trying to clown or whatever, but I think, again, our Flavor Flavs of the gaming community, they're going to hype this up to make it swear like this is their E3. No, Jack, your E3 was just a couple of months ago. And what we got was Ratchet and Clank. And we got a couple other cool looking games. You got Demon Souls remake, and you got a couple other good games coming out. That was it. You coming expecting to see that there's going to be all these hot new games coming out. I just don't see it. They're going to come in here. They're going to show that. They're going to talk about the price. They're going to talk a little bit about the system. They might show a couple. They most likely will probably show God of War. But that's the. I mean, is that really a big secret? I mean, if it said it was coming out in 2021, then that's hype. But just because you show a trailer, we're not doing this. We did this all last gen. We had 5 years of the Flavor Flav hype about Death Stranding, and now nobody talks about it. Nobody. I think PMS Jordan is the only person that talks about that game. Nobody talks about it. Hell, Jeff Keighley don't even talk about the game no more. Nobody. So I'm not trying to wait. Horizon Zero Dawn, when that drops, I'll get it. When God of War comes out, I'll get it. But those are not secrets. You bring out some other stuff that's hot, I got you. It's all right. They talk about SOCOM or maybe some, Silent Hill or something, I got you. But I wouldn't get into this mode of thinking that this. And look, you got every right to be hyped. I'm not telling anybody not to be hyped about what, especially if you're a diehard PlayStation fan. Be hyped about this because it's going to be time for pre-orders and all of that. As soon as when it'll probably be around the same time, if not right then and there. Who knows? But and everybody's been anticipating. This has been going way too long. We should have already known the prices and all that other stuff, right? From both Microsoft and from Sony. So they played the game. The game is where it's at. I hope we never have to go through this stupid stuff again. But again, this isn't your E3. That was a couple of months ago. It's just time to see what's going on. So let's get back into the point that I wanted to get into, right? Okay, so right here, Sony has been going through a situation with their stocks ever since last year. So this comes from March 20th, 2019. From it says from it says right here, PlayStation gaming business according to Jeffries. The backstory: Sony stock prices has declined about 11% over the past year as investors were disappointed about slowing profit growth. Okay, all right, and look, and all the times that we're seeing all types of record growth going here, going there. Even there was some more stuff that he was saying like in the beginning of the year where they were having some their stocks was down. So okay, that's fine, right? No big deal. But this situation with the PlayStation 5 and this heating issue and this situation right here so late into the game and where Sony has to do all of this backtracking, this is a problem. Now, of course, they won't. This is what I would like to hear on a pro PlayStation channel is now. Will we ever hear like did Microsoft outplay? Did they outmaneuver Sony? You'll never hear it. When we sit here and we talk about like the commercials here, when we talk about GRG about stuff about what Sony does and stuff like that, you have to give them credit for what credit is due. They outpace Microsoft in so many categories. This generation, Microsoft had to come out swinging. If they didn't come out swinging, then the rumors of what people have been saying is that they just don't really care anymore, and they just kind of want to move away from the console space. But obviously, we see that that's not the case. Microsoft hit them with a loop, hit Sony with a big, big, big loop. They were not expecting Xbox to come like this. And you have to give credit for Microsoft for what they're doing. Now, you can't give them credit for this little Game Pass video that I seen today. I don't know what that was. I cannot co-sign that. I love Game Pass, but I don't know. I don't love that. What's going on with you, Bounty Boom? What you saying? He says, just showing my support. I think I like. Well, we think alike. I got you, brother. I got you, brother. We think alike. Yes, yes, yes. We think alike. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. But all right. So let me get to my point. Right. This is why I say this is troubling. And no, Sony's not going to go away. And I should say Sony. PlayStation's not going away. The PlayStation 5 is still going to do well. It's not gonna burn up your house or anything like that. But this is why I'm saying that this is why I'm asking the question: are they going to stumble into this generation now? Into this generation, you got to look at it from two different perspectives. One, how fast are they going to jump off the gate? Because of course, like I said, Spider-Man is going to be that game. Since there's no Halo, Xbox is going to have to really depend on like Game Pass and well mostly like what for like Destiny and for some of these other games that's right there. But really, Spider-Man is the bigger draw than it's not. I mean, Destiny is a bigger title, but it's still a multiplat. So it's really Spider-Man. It's really Sony can really do a lot of damage in the beginning of this gen with the Spider-Man, with having a bundle or whatever they want to do with it, right? So this is the thing, though. How is it going to play out for the long term? I was just watching a video earlier, and I've said this before. If y'all have listened to me and pay attention to what I say, I've said this before. It's that, look, the console space is great, but Microsoft looked at it from this standpoint. Look, if PlayStation is going to be in more regions, PlayStation is pretty much as always going to have the upper edge in console sales because of that factor, and just because of their long-term success. PlayStation's been around for almost 30 years. So I mean, it's like, they're kind of like, if you think of Nintendo, you think of like, there was Sega, but Sega don't do the same things like they used to. So it's like PlayStation took over that Sega spot. So if you just look at it from that aspect of it, Xbox has got a name. It's been there. It's been around for a while, but because of such a crazy, Xbox One generation, what I'm saying, Xbox has to really rev it up and kick it into gear. So So PlayStation's going to kind of kick in and it's still probably going to, there's going to be stands that's going to show, oh, look at this, look at this, look at this, look at this. But this is the thing right here, right here. Um, when you look at this situation with the pricing, PlayStation is going to, if I've seen people post, and I posted it on Twitter, where they have put out, $399 that they're going to match the Series S. I don't even there was PlayStation dudes that was like, no, I just don't even see that. It's going to be $400, which I think it's going to be one for four and one for five. Now there has also been some reports out there that saying PlayStation might try to go a little bit lower than four. I don't know. If they do, then they're really being aggressive and bold, and which that should tell you right there that whatever Microsoft is doing is making them nervous because they know they got to have the launch. And I think if we really want to give them a truth serum, Sony would probably best bet would be like, look, man, we could delay this until maybe the first, second quarter, or maybe even until next year. But they already know that Series S is going to fly off the shelves. It's going to fly. That they're going to sell. They're going to sell a lot of those consoles. But this is the problem where PlayStation has, other than just the whole situation going on with this whole SKU thing that they got going on with the little chipset problem and whatever, the heating issues. It's going to be, and see, nobody hasn't really talked about this. They might talk about this later on tonight or earlier in this week. But um, how like they came and they talked about the bottleneck situation with the Xbox and how the Series X and then the S and the X is it's gonna hold some things back. PlayStation is going to be in that position that's going to put them they're going to be in a weird position themselves because of their overclocking. I don't think if anybody really paid attention to that. I've did some reading. I've looked at all this stuff. The more and more, when I talk to Six Slayer or 108, when he talks about stuff sometimes, or other people that I listen to or see that they talk about this stuff, it's really fascinating. Xbot and them, they get into all these conversations, and I'll be paying attention. I might just be quiet because I'm not trying to say something that sounds stupid, but this is one thing right here is this right here is the overclocking situation. If PlayStation just came out and just said, look, we're just going to be a 9 teraflop console that's going to have stable frames. I mean, just going to be just a stable frame, no overclocking, no all this other stuff, and just sold the console for $400, they would be in a winning position. But because they did that overclocking thing, and this is what's crazy because PlayStation threw Xbox in such a bad crazy loop. If y'all remember back in 2013, Xbox had they did that line shit talking about, well, we can't do any changes because the Connect, blah 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 blah. And then when all hell broke loose and they had no choice, they gutted. They said, up, we got to change something, and then so they overclocked the Xbox One. Now the differences was, because of the resolution, because of 1080p, 720p, all that other stuff, right? So you had all different types of crazy situations going on with the Xbox. This is going to be kind of like the same thing, but only on the PlayStation end, because that game is not, because they're going to have, the devs can do it, they can make it stable, but it's going to be weird because of how they have their because the overclocking situation is going to make them it's going to make the devs have to work a little bit harder to get around. So which means that some of these games might get pushed back because they're trying to make sure that they have the right, to make the game run properly. So I mean, it's crazy. If PC fans is listening to me right now, what I'm saying, please let these people know in the chat that I'm not just blowing smoke up your ass. I'm telling you, this is a real thing. What's up with you, Thomas Franks? And so that overclocking thing was because they didn't expect, and that's, and I mean, it's obvious. They wasn't expecting Microsoft to go balls to the wall. They just weren't. They just wasn't. That's why they were so quiet. And then when they finally wanted to show and talk about it and all this other stuff, then they wanted to do that. And so I guess what Sony was over here trying to do, I guess I don't know if it was Mark Cerny that that talked Sony into doing this or whatever, or it's just I don't know. But I guess they were trying to think it because AMD has this because what is that thing called? I gotta think about what that thing is called again. But it's a program that they have on AMD that lets you um hold on, I'm gonna look it up right fast. We'll sit there and do it. That's why you hate doing stuff live. Let's see, what's it called again? It's called the where is it? Where is it at? Dang it. What is that thing called? Anyway, but AMD has this thing to where you can um where everything kind of it boosts everything up. And then of course when you have that crazy SSD that PlayStation is going to have, it's gonna make things extra hot. That's why that thing is so big. That's why that console is really big. So just think about how much the cost of the shell of that console is more expensive than what it was for the PlayStation 4 and the Pro. And then you're gonna have to think about the heat sink. You got to think about the two chipsets that they have, and then that SSD, in which that's a crazy new, hyper SSD, and all of these components working while you got this thing overclocking. That's a lot of heat, Jack. And so that's why I was like, man, when I was reading up on this stuff, and I'm like, oh snap, it makes perfect sense now. Makes perfect sense now. And that could be the reason why those chips were just burning the hell up, or just messing up. It's because because the rumors that was happening back in January, February were true. These consoles, the damn thing was just running too hot. So then they didn't have all the parts, and then of course there was the pandemic, which I'm pretty sure that had something to do with it. And then of course there was the new phone lineups that was coming from Samsung and Sony kind of had a little thing about it, and Samsung's like, look, we got way more customers than you, Jack. We got first dibs. So all of that put together, that's why Sony is over here making the moves that they had to make. And if they got a shortage, and Xbox don't have a shortage of consoles at launch, that's Sony's going to have to, you're going to have to wait until the first quarter sometime, probably what, February, March? And if Xbox is in full, got everything, got their actual number, then what then? Because what they say is whoever gets to 10 million first get that market share. Now, PlayStation could they said that they're going to have what, 11 million or whatever or something like that. Then I mean it definitely could be done, but normally I think how many was sold? I think it was 7, 8 million, somewhere around there. Xbox, I don't know, 4 to 5 million. I know it was really close in the first month or something like that, and then PlayStation at one point just took off. Another factor that a lot of people aren't trying to talk about is the same factor why Sony won the generation in the first damn place, and that was because of the $100 price point. That casuals have no love for either console like that. Not like the hardcore. They just don't. They just don't. They don't at all. If they see something that's right there in front of their eyes that's $100 cheaper, they're gonna get it. Now, the diehard PlayStation fans, it didn't matter if the PlayStation was $600, $700. There's going to be PlayStation fans that's going to buy that console. Same thing with Xbox fans. There's going to be if the Series X was $700, there would have been people that would have got it. Not as many, but there would have been people that would have got both consoles. But if Sony, I think, from reading other reports, and this is from like gaming sites. This isn't from like some crazy source or anything like that. This was from gaming. This was from gaming sites where they were actually thinking that now was a really good time because of the popularity of the PlayStation, and especially them coming off with having dope ass games like Ghost of Tsushima out, and then they got The Last of Us, which is really popular. So the momentum was still with them going into the gen, so they were going to come in and probably hit about a $600 console, and they felt comfortable about it. But because Xbox came and hit them over the head with the Series S, that's it. So now, what it's going to be really fascinating to watch what their price is going to be, because Sony, um, if they're still cocky and arrogant, then they can pull out and say, look, we could do a 450, you do 500. But if they're nervous, they'll go as low as they possibly can, and even try to undercut the Series X. Don't know. You know what I'm saying? This is going to be, this is very interesting to me. I'm really excited to find out what they're going to do. Um, but I, you got to put that in perspective. That $100 difference is going to be crazy. So if Sony drops the price to, like, let's say, 370, 379 or 350 or something like that, that's still really going to be really good for them, but that's going to hurt them. And Porter Rock was bringing up something where he was talking about whether PlayStation 3, they took a $200 cut, and he was like that, they did fine and all that other stuff, but he was like, they're not going to do it. And I agree with that. That is just too much of a bigger cut. And on top of that, what if going into this that PlayStation will have for their first time their red ring of death, where these consoles overheat? Now, I'm not wishing on that. I'm not hoping for that. But knowing that this situation is where they were having these heat issues, and then when you look at all the other costs that I'm going to talk about here in a second, that's going to imply with this new SSD and all that. What I mean, gamers are going to be. It's going to be one of those things, because even with the Series S, you get the Series S, and if people know about what's going on with these SSDs, and if the price is going to be what we see is look like is around $200 for those memory extended memory SSD chips, whatever, cards or whatever you want to call them. The PlayStations is going to be higher, because there's only a certain amount that they can use. So, oh, hold on. I'm sorry, guys. I'm even looking. I'm over here looking at something else here. Let me go ahead and check this out. Okay, hold on. Let me get to you. Boom. You said, who said it was late? They already knew about it. Just found out. To the first comment was showing my support. Oh, and Shogun, he says that music was dope. He said that music video was hot. Stop it, bro. That music video was awful, 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 awful. So, what's up with you, Slayer? I see you up in there. Cause I was over here trying to look for that AMD uh technology that I'm gonna look for that. I was looking for it, trying to find it. And it was right there and at the tip of my tongue, and then I completely just forgot it because I had my mind thinking about what I was gonna say next. Ah, dang it! Where is that damn thing at? All right, hold on. Smart Shift. That's what it's called. AMD Smart Shift. That's exactly what it's called. And if you haven't heard about it, it's where um, it controls the power levels of the of the APU, and you know what I'm saying. And so basically, it it's Sony probably was thinking that they could use that when they're doing the overclocking. And like I was saying, obviously things just ran too hot. And so that's one another thing too, is where the games themselves, you know, they might have some kind of issues in the sense of whether there'll just probably maybe be some more delays or may take a little bit more time. Maybe not so much delays, but just take more time to come out with some of these games because they're overclocking. And they also said this too, and I put this in my notes. They also said this, which they said because Mark Cerny said this. He said that there were 3.5 gigahertz CPU and 2.23 gigahertz GPU clocks, even though you can't have those numbers at the same time. How can you do that? How can you do that? How can you do that? You can't. You know what I'm saying? This is just the bottom line. Microsoft outperformed Sony with the consoles this generation. They just absolutely did it. While this generation PlayStation did it, the Xbox brought it in too late with the Series X. I mean, not with the Series X, I'm sorry, with the Xbox One X. It was just too late. It was too late. Even though I was thinking that maybe, this would happen, but when the console was $500, if it was 300 or 400 or whatever the case may be, it had a better because once that thing dropped to what was it, 250 or 300 or something like that. And Crispy made a great point talking about this too on next podcast last week. Was that was the test? That was the litmus test right there to see where they should price the Series S, because the Xbox One X flew off the shelves. They were sold out. They were gone. Because I was even thinking about getting one, and I was like, man, I could get another one, and no, they were gone. So that's what lets me know right there. That 300 price point is so sweet. That's a sweet. Just look at what you get from Nintendo, right? You get that console, and then you get that console, you get the games and all the accessories and all that stuff. You're coming out with more money, but just because of that $300 price point, you're good. Sony, on the other hand, the 400 price point is still sweet, but it's also a diskless console. It's not the one with the disk drive. So therefore, you're going to have people that's going to snarl up at it because PlayStation told gamers at one particular time to snarl at those type of consoles. If you don't, that's just a fact. So a lot of PlayStation fans got to eat crow that aren't. Not I should say the stands, not the fans. The PlayStation stands got to eat crow because now there's a lot of people that's talking about, oh man, I can't wait to get that digital. So digital is all good now. It's okay. I thought you was only a hard copy gamer. I thought you was on the new Nukem's tip. I thought that's what you like. That's all you want is hard copies. But you over here eyeing at supposedly, hopefully, a $400 or less PlayStation 5. I don't know, man. I don't know. That sounds pretty shaky to me. But again, the main factors here of why I feel Xbox is going to take it home. In the sense of just I still think that PlayStation is going to outsell Xbox with the consoles because I just think because of more regions, popularity, things like that. But I think overall, this is where Xbox is going to win it, and that is Game Pass. Game Pass is going to be. There's other people that the video I watched earlier today. They were thinking even this the new thing that they're doing where they're basically you're leasing to own the consoles, that all access. I think that's a fantastic thing. I think PlayStation should definitely jump on something like that, but I don't know about that because it goes on credit. I don't think a lot of people out there is going get it, but to me it's Game Pass, man. It's Game Pass, and the secret sauce, that secret weapon, is XCloud. If XCloud takes off, it's a wrap already. If XCloud takes off, For if xCloud takes off, it is a wrap already. It's done. No console. No console. I don't care how many I don't care if PlayStation sells 300 million consoles. They're still not going to outpace the cell phone, the mobile market. They're just not. And if Xbox takes off on the mobile market, that's it. That's it. That is it. And I hope you can tell me that I'm wrong because this is the thing. Sony Sony was so innovative in the first two two and a half consoles because they did a lot of crazy cool things with even within the PlayStation 3 era. The PlayStation 4 was kind of like this. They just reverted, took it back to the old school narrative of how you play video games. Added a couple of cool things with it, with the share button and all and that type of stuff. But the PlayStation 4 to me, don't get. I'm not saying that it's not innovative, but it just seemed like the PlayStation 1, the PlayStation 2, and what the PlayStation 3 were doing at that time were much more innovative compared to the PlayStation 4. Now they look like they wanted to try to get back to being where they were, being really innovative with the PlayStation 5. It's just that the fact of it is that they they had a target which it seemed like it was going to be non-teraflops, and then now all of a sudden they got hit over the head with Xbox outperforming them and surprising them, and then now they're scrambling and trying to figure out which way they want to go. I mean, well, they got them. They got. Are they going to make a price? Are they going to get the? Are they going to go? Are they going to try to match somehow with their pricing, or are they going to try to do something else in the sense of with their bundles? Because there's also that rumor where they're trying to link up PSN and PS Now. That's something, you know what I'm saying? That if a stand comes and tells me, oh, that's something that was already in the works a long time ago, you're lying to me. You're frauding the public. Because this is exactly, PlayStation has definitely got to make some kind of moves because they know Game Pass is dangerous. All these other companies is doing this, and then on top of that, like Microsoft is spending tons of money on stuff that's not even acquisitions. Like to me, what they're trying to do is they're trying to show up to try to alleviate something, the big blow of not having that launch title for the gen. So if they get Cyberpunk or if they get like something else that like I can't think of anything else bigger than what Cyberpunk except for maybe Assassin's Creed Valhalla or something like that, but I don't see that happening. But Cyberpunk is the only thing that I can think of right now while I'm doing this live. Could be like on Game Pass first, and I mean on like day and date the Game Pass thing. That would be insane. That would be huge. That would be huge. But again, I don't know. I don't know. I have no idea what Xbox got up their sleeve to try to alleviate that. Because like I said, Spider-Man is more dominant. Is going to be the more dominant game overall to sell these consoles for PlayStation. But Game Pass is still going to generate a lot of the money. And this is my last point. It's going to bring a lot of people to jump on the Xbox bandwagon because, like I said, the casuals aren't loyal. They don't care about your console war. They care about that. Look, this console is $100, is $50 to $100 cheaper, and this is what I'm walking out with. And this is why it cracks me up when the stands get mad because I talk about the value because that's exactly what this is. You go into this store. You go in and you buy an Xbox for $300. You walk away with hundreds of games. Once you plug that thing in, it's already ready to go. You just got to download them in there. And since you got this fast ass console, boom, it's going to be there. Now, the other thing to that though, if you get this, the one caveat is going to be that little SSD expansion. If that thing is going to be around $200, that's a lot of money. Now, not Auntie Betty ain't gonna go ahead and she ain't getting that for nephew. No, she's not. She ain't even worried about that. You know what I'm saying? Mama Keisha, she ain't worried about that either. You just better mix and match and do what you need to do. But then there's going to be some that's going to, pay attention to that and is going to want that. And so now you walk out of a store, if you get one of those SSD drives, you don't have to worry about buying new games. You have an abundance of games right there. You can get those other games later. You can have a choice again. And then on top of that, all your accessories you can still play with. So you ain't got to buy no new extra controller. You ain't got to do any of that. Everything else is ready to get. You ain't got to buy no new headsets. You ain't got to buy none of that. None of that. And so therefore, if you don't want to buy any new games, and then on top of that, if you buy games now let's say you get COD, you get that one you get the $70 version of it, then you get that free upgraded. Then the other games, you got the smart delivery stuff going on with it, like Madden, and then of course just other games. I'm just going for the whole list of games that's going to be there. So if you got games already paid off, and then you get those games already ready to go, and they're going to get enhanced, you good. You can have if you want to go ahead, the money that you would spend like everybody else does when they buy new consoles, they usually get an extra controller, or they buy a couple of games. They get like some extra Xbox Live or whatever the case may be. It's always something that people walk out and they pay about $750 overall. But see, that was the thing why PlayStation 1 is because why PlayStation 4 dominated is because people they only had to pay maybe 500, maybe 550. While people like me who wanted Killer Instinct, wanted FIFA, wanted Forza 5, and wanted NBA 2K14, I had to come off and pay close to $700. So that's where the win was. So now when you take it over, you see that, and you got all these games available for you from the Xbox. That's that value part about it, because Game Pass is going to definitely make that happen. All right? Or even if you get the all access, this is the part that's really crazy too, because if you do get qualified for that, then you only have to pay $24, and then you can buy what the hell else you want to for the rest of the money that you got, because you only got to pay that $24 a month. And you get 2 years of Game Pass. That's crazy. So now let's look at the PlayStation side. PlayStation is going to be, the digital is going to be $400, right? Or that's what we're all anticipating, right? All right, so let's just say $400. So it's $400. That's still a great price for a powerful console. You go in there, you get it. You got to get Spider-Man. Spider-Man, I don't think it's going to get bundled, Jack. I know it's close to Black Friday, but I don't think it's going to get bundled, Jack. And so now we're going to be wondering how much is the price going to be? Is it going to be $40, or will it be 60, or will it be 70? Because of course, they raising games are raising the price. We're going to see about that. But let's just say let's just be positive with it and say 40. All right, so that's 40. So you got that, and that's $440, right? Well, damn, you got home. You want a friend or somebody to come and play, so you want to get another controller. You can't play your new games with the old controller. You can play your old games with the old controller, but you can't play anything else that's, let's say that you was hyped for Bug Snacks. I mean, okay, but you got get another controller. That's going to be another $70. PlayStation controllers are high too. Just thought about that. Then, let's just say that you wanted to go ahead and risk it all, and you want to get that SSD expansion. Well, that thing is more expensive than what Xboxes will be. Because Xbox already did the smart thing and partner up with somebody. Sony, you have to look for the exact thing that Sony wants you to get to to combine with that SSD, because not all of those things that are out there. Because somebody tried to tell me this last night, was that, or this morning, was like, oh, no, I just see one right now, and it's $40 cheaper than what you're saying that those actual no, you cannot. Sony got a list. This is what you can get. You cannot. You can try. Well, you can do what you want to. You can try, but if that messes up your PlayStation, then that's on you. Because you know PlayStation ain't gonna play around on to want to give you your money back. No, Jack. Especially they taking a cut. Nah, no, you ain't getting your money back. So you get you get that SSD. Okay. What else you got? Oh, that's right. You got the backwards compatible games for the games you already beat, which were one and dones. How that gonna play out for you? That's that value I'm talking about. That's what's going to be the difference overall when Game Pass keeps getting better, because Game Pass is getting better, but that's what we always talked about when it first came out. It's like when if they add the content, this is going to blow up. So Sony's going to have to do something, and if Sony tries to undercut with their with the regular disc with the disc in PlayStation 5, the Series X, you're going to have to pay that one way or another. The gamer is going to have to pay that back some way, somehow, or Sony's going to do what I predicted yesterday, is saying, look, they're going to go balls to the wall and start putting all not their newest titles, because it's going to be probably that 3 to 6 month window, maybe even a year or so, but you're going to start seeing tons of PlayStation exclusives going to PC. They're going to make that money back, because, see, this is the thing with these PlayStation games. If they wait too long, they can't sell them at full $60 prices. They got to sell them at a cheaper price. Because I think Horizon Zero Dawn was what, 40, 50 bucks? But Death Stranding was 60, because they sent it out earlier. So if you think Sony is not going to didn't see or pay attention to that, I'm sorry. Now, we're pretty sure that God of War and Uncharted will come to the PC, but those are older games, like PlayStation fans say. But I guarantee you, they're going to try to do something, or they're going to revamp PlayStation Now. That's exactly what they're going to do. And they're going to try to have their own version, and they might not bring their games over day and date, but I guarantee you that they'll have some kind of special something going on, maybe with a like maybe second party games that they have going on PS Now, kind of doing the whole, kind of trying to have their own little version of Game Pass. You already see what they did by doing what Microsoft did by because it was just streaming, and then they changed up, and now you can download the games. They slowly are trying to spoon feed their fan base. They're slowly going to do it. And the hardcore that keeps saying that Sony is not going to revert and do the things that Microsoft is doing, they're not going to keep leaving money off the table, especially if they're going to go as cheap as people are anticipating them to go with the console tomorrow. They can't do it. I mean, we know Sony is a billion-dollar company. They got the money, but I mean, but do they got the money to really do it that way? I don't know, man. I mean, and when you look at it from overall company, Microsoft can take those type of hits. Sony can't take those type of hits like that. They can't have another PlayStation 3 moment. They can't have that. So it's going to be really, really interesting to see what they do tomorrow. I mean, like I said, I know that they're going to show some cool games. I just don't know if it's going to be what they showed at their last show, which I thought they had a really good show. I gave it an 8 out of 10. But I just don't, but don't throw Ratchet and Clank in my face or, that ain't it, Jack. It's a great looking game, but that ain't no system, killer. I mean, they ain't going to kill the Xbox. That's just not going to do it. So I don't know, man. Anyway, I'm done. I just wanted to get on that point. I just think that Sony is in a weird situation right now. I think that they're going to be fine in the beginning, but I think at the end, I think what Microsoft is doing, Sony just they slow played. They had with PlayStation Now, they had the recipe right there, right there. They were right there to do it, and Microsoft just took advantage of it, seen what they were doing, and I think what they did mostly, it wasn't so much of what Sony was doing. I think it was what with EA Access. When EA Access came, I know that Microsoft was actually looking at that and was like, man, we could do that, but we could change that up and we can make that into like a Netflix type of thing. And now look at this situation that's going on now with the combine. Now let's just think of Xbox even goes a little bit further with that. That's another thing too that Xbox could do. Xbox could probably tie in with, let's say that because there's been rumors of Bandai Namco or Capcom, they're planning on doing these services as well. Or let's just say that Microsoft brings in Ubisoft with Game Pass with like their service and like combine Ubisoft and EA with Game Pass. Like, come on, that would be sick. That would be sick. That would be crazy. Maybe that's the next step that what Xbox is trying to do is trying to link up with somebody uh, and add more to Game Pass to where at that point it's almost irresistible. You see what I'm saying? So like that could be the next thing that maybe Microsoft is trying to do with Game Pass. I don't know, but we'll see. I don't know, man. Anybody got anything they want to say to me in here before I get the hell out of here? You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Anything? Any questions? Oh, I can't wait to read the comments. I cannot wait to read the comments. Ooh, wait! I cannot wait to read the comments after this video. They are going to be fierce. I promise you, there will be some people on Twitter, on Facebook. They'll say all types of nasty shit to me. It's going to be funny. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to get the hell out of here. I will thank you for coming checking me out. I will I stream tonight? I don't know. I might stream. I might stream. I might go ahead and stream. I'll definitely be streaming tomorrow for sure. And maybe even try to get a couple of guys together and we'll talk about the Sony show. Talk about what we liked and then talk about that price point. Go through things like that. So really appreciate it, guys. I will holler at you guys here tomorrow. If it's not me streaming, I will definitely make a video. And if it's just me, it's just me. But if I get some of the guys with me, that's what's going on. And we out. Peace. Thank you.